I'm Jackee Taylor, Butch Crouch's daughter, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Jackee Taylor.
And that was one of the most healing things I've ever done. And I did not have love on my mind. I didn't plan on him making it out alive that night, to tell you the truth. And that changed me. And that's a hard thing to admit to, but I did not have good intentions that day. And seeing him just changed everything. And come to find out, out of over 30 children, I think it's right around 35 children that he had, I am the only one that talked to him in the end. I'm the only one that forgave him and talked to him. And honestly, Bill, I don't know why I forgave him. Maybe I did it for me. I don't know. But whatever it was, wow. That was, I can't even describe that feeling. It was just a release.
What type of stuff did you guys talk about when you finally met him in person again?
Growing marijuana, things that we had in common at the time. What I did for a living. We talked about my children because I just had my last child the year before, so he wanted to know all about my children and about my brother and sister and my mother and what they were doing, and we just caught up. We went to the store. This was insane. We went to the store, and this is out in East Texas, out in nowhere land. I still have a hard time finding it to this day. East Texas, and we had to go to this grocery store to get some chicken, and because we were going to grill out that night. And he wrote a check, and the girl asked for his ID, and he got real nervous. And he handed the driver's license. I'm pretty sure that the marshals gave him like the day he got out of prison, because they don't update your stuff for you. And the lady said, "Wow, how old is this?" And he was, it was insane. Like I even witnessed what my father was still going through being in witness protection. Although I witnessed it. So it was nuts. But yeah, we just caught up and made plans to bring my kids down, and yeah, it was great. It was a great visit.
Was he still in witness protection? Was he still in witness protection at the time?
Yes.
He was still hiding.
Yep.
Did you ask him if anyone ever made attempts on his life in prison or out of prison?
From what I know of, I don't think anybody ever did because of how they housed him. I did not ask him that, though. That would have been a great question to ask him. But I don't know if you remember. I'm sure, well, you remember what happened. But for those of you that don't know, my father struggled a lot being in witness protection. He couldn't get his Social Security. And you know what? It's his own fault, right? It's his own fault that he was in witness protection. But my beef with this is you can't put a man like Butch Crouch in witness protection, stick him out in the middle of Nowhereville, Texas, and then let him live his life and not respond or not try to help him when he's begging for help. So he had no Social Security, his everything was messed up. So he was bringing in nothing, which rightfully so, a lot of people say, well, he deserved it. Well, yeah, he did. But he's still a murderer that's out living in Nowhereville, and now he's frustrated and in physical pain. So July 4th, 2013, he killed his 82-year-old wife. He killed his stepson. He sat in the Texas heat with them until July 8th, set the house on fire, called the fire department, and when they pulled up, he killed himself. So that was the end of my father. And finding what he left, because he documented everything he saved, every letter, all correspondence between anyone, whether it was prison letters, whether it was with the marshals, the DOJ, anybody. He kept all that correspondence, and I found correspondence of him begging for help about 6 weeks prior to this happening. So after I found that really 2009, I went public. 2013, I blew up. I went nuclear. I ended up doing the podcast, Relative Unknown. Still on the charts 5 years after it came out. It is 10 episodes long, and it tells the whole entire story. Episode 1 covers what I just talked about now with July 8th, 2013.
And you've seen your video of you going through the ashes and looking at things that were burnt and stayed there. There was like a chimney there, right?
Yep, there's still a chimney there, sitting there. The property is still just sitting there. So I still go out there and I look for stuff. I guess that's part of my healing. I don't let myself do it that often. I always document when I do this. I'm actually out here sifting through the rubble of my father's house. As he, in July 8th, actually, 2013, took his life. 13 years later, 51 years old, and I'm still sifting through the rubble. Just trying to find anything that I can salvage. I found a tie. I didn't even know that my daddy wore ties. So it always makes me think, PSA, here I am. We didn't have that good of a relationship, but he was still my daddy. He wasn't a good man, but he was still my daddy. If you're feeling down, feeling like you have nothing to live for, feeling like, your kids would be better off without you, I want you to think about me, 51 years old. If you have a daughter out there or a son, I want you to think about their future, because that saved my life a couple of times when I've been down and out. I let myself feel trauma when I need to feel it, feel the feelings, and step out of it, because I don't want it to eat me up anymore. I've gone through enough in my life, and I just want to be freaking happy.
Now, when did you find this trunk of memorabilia and letters and videos and pictures of everything, his whole life, right?
Right. So like I said, he documented everything. He took thousands of pictures of the club from 1966. So that's another thing. He was one of the founding members of the Banditos in 66. So he kept everything, all pictures, patches, letters, everything. And he stuffed it in this trunk, and then some Navy bags, but he saved everything. And about 3 days before he did what he did in Texas, he called my brother Larry down there, and asked him to come over and help him move some things into one of his motorhomes. And Larry said, okay. Well, he said, I'm just real crippled up. I can't move this stuff. I need help. So Larry helped him move it into the motorhome. And as he was doing that, he said, if anything ever happens to me, make sure Jackee gets this. So Larry did just that. And he guarded it after he found out what had happened. I'll send you a picture. There's actually a really good picture of Larry sitting there waiting to talk to the sheriffs. And the sheriffs were like, you got to stay back. It's a crime scene. He's like, I got something to tell you. And they weren't listening. And I think I talk about it in the podcast too. But, he had the stuff that he had to give to the sheriffs to get to me, because I didn't have any of Larry didn't have my info back then. So the sheriffs actually, I had called the sheriffs when I heard about what had happened. I talked to Sheriff David McKnight, bless his heart, and he held on to that stuff for me. I guess the marshals came to try to get it. One of his old buddies came to try to get all the stuff, and he said, nope, this is Jackee's. This is going to Jackee. So he sat on it for me, and thank God. So that's how I got it. Yeah.
So the marshals tried to come and get the last bit of
Yeah. The sheriffs would not let them see. And I heard different originally, but McKnight verified, no, they tried to come and get it, and we safeguarded it. So I owe everything to that man, because as a person, as a human being, you want to know who the hell you are. Where did you come from? You want to know your story. And it's hard not knowing where you came from. It's hard not knowing about who your father was. And I'm just one of those people that I need to know. And finding all this stuff out, I need to talk about it now. It's part of my PTSD recovery. I need to talk. And and I'm not going to stop. So
you have this trunk. How long do you sit on it before you like go public with this information?
nobody knew I had the trunk. I didn't put it out there. Actually, when I went public in 2009, a couple of gentlemen with Rumor Productions reached out to me, and they started following me around and documenting my journey into making changes within the witness protection program. So I called them and said, oh my gosh, I got all this stuff and this just happened, because we were at a standstill. They didn't, we kind of covered my story a little bit in the news, and they were working on some projects. But I got all this stuff, and they were like, whoa. And I'm like, I know, thousands of pictures. This is a real life story of Sons of Anarchy. He wrote a manuscript depicting outlaw biker culture, everything from 1966 to 1981. And it wasn't just the HAs. He talked about all the clubs. He talked about the people. My father never forgot a dang thing. You could ask him, what'd you do November 2nd, 1967? And he would, I was there, and blah, blah, blah. And it was with Margie, and Margie had a limp that day because I think her dog bit her the day before. I mean, he had this mind like insane, and he wrote about it. It's a condition. I can't remember what it's called. You know what I'm talking about? Where you remember everything. He's had, with all the drugs he did, he remembered it. But
so he wrote a manuscript too, right? Like a book.
1,066 pages, something like that. But that was also in there. So I got all that back, and I let my the people that I was working with Rumor Productions know that I had that. They started following me around again, wanted to do this, wanted to do that. Nothing happened for a long time until a connection was made with Zach Levitt with Cadence 13, who wanted to do a podcast. And at the time, I'm embarrassed to say I'm a Montana girl. I didn't know what a podcast was. I had no idea. Like, sure, I guess. Let's talk about this some more. We can do that. And I did. 3 years ago, there's over 9 million downloads.
Wow.
3 years ago. I haven't checked since then, but
Outlaw Archives pops into your life.